Not a whole lot to choose from this week, as everybody seems to be taking vacations right now, but we did get some good stuff. We got Addiction, Soft Side of Masculinity, and Slay Girl. All that and more after the intro. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? I'm Pocan Joe, and this is my weekly comic book review and haul from this week. But there wasn't really a whole lot going on. I only found three. Apparently, some people just felt that 1 week in between they needed a break afterwards, I guess. I don't know. It's been weird. But I did pick this up, and that's Dear Becky from The Boys. In this, we find out Huey gets a little bit more inner monologue from some of his friends from The Boys, back when he used to work for them. But this is really about addiction, the weird side of addiction, how you can be addicted to other things than alcohol, drugs, sex, and stuff like that. But you can actually find yourself attracted to things that do you harm. So Huey had his problems with the boys, and eventually that separated in this, but he keeps being drawn back into this situation to the point where he has to lie to his loved one about reading this particular diary and what's going on in it. Also, we find out that our boy from The Boys apparently had a little problem with addiction too, being violent towards soups, and it was a regular thing, and he kept apologizing in the diary about it. These are all typical signs of somebody that's addicted to something. Also, we find out that possibly the neighborhood bus driver is addicted to crack, because that was a thing too. That's honestly the whole thing that tied it in when I started thinking about how drug users and their addictions and the excuses they give and the lies and the hiding that they have to do. That was kind of the eye-opener that this whole thing's talking about addiction. So it was really cool. I really enjoyed this. The artwork's great in it. I do have some trouble. I can appreciate them using the Scottish slang and the spelling so you can get the right voice out, but I'm not Scottish, so and I've known Scottish people, and half the time I can't understand them. So I can appreciate them doing that in here, but sometimes I'm like, like I'm over exaggerating to try to pronounce the words in here. It was ridiculous, but nevertheless, still a good read. Also, we find out what their idea of Thor is in this, and oh, that was another addiction too. Sex addiction was in here too. Their Thor fake character is apparently addicted to sex. Particular frame set of woman, I guess is the best way to put it. So still very interesting, chock full of all kinds of good stuff in here. Definitely pick it up if you haven't already. I hope you've been reading along with it. It's good. Next is Devil Highways. Well, this new company that I've really been kind of enjoying, this Upshot. This is #1, and we got your typical 2020 story here, girl slay story. So, but it's not all bad. I want to be clear on that before people start thumbs downing me and calling me a bigot. It's still good, but for the wrong reasons. In this, we find out that there's a guy who owns a diner. It's near a truck stop, and apparently a woman escaped from somebody trying to kill her, and apparently it ends this gentleman's death. Now, apparently him and his daughter are estranged in some way. They keep mentioning that if she shows up this year, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that was great. And then all of a sudden he dies, and she just shows up out of nowhere, pink haired, about 90 pounds or so. She's relatively young, so there's been no time to earn any real type of experience, but we find out in here that she's basically the town bully. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of lost me on that one. She's very short and mean with everybody after experiencing her father's death. Again, apparently they weren't very close. I'm sure we'll get more of that in here. But nevertheless, I'm just finding it very hard to believe that she could be that intimidating. That's why I put the thumbnail that I did. Fight me if you want. Whatever. Um, I don't know. It just seemed kind of... The good stuff about it is a good story. The character's bad, but still a good story. I'm really digging on this whole kind of cult vibe thing they got going on with the ritual killing and dismemberment of people. Not that I like dismemberment, but it was very smartly done. They took away identifying factors of a person like teeth, fingerprints, things along those lines. Somebody added a little detail to it, and that was really cool. But I don't know. This girl just walks around and makes a bunch of demands and goes, remember back in high school when I broke such and such wrist? I'll do that to you. And I'm like, if it was me, I'm like, no, I'm a full-grown man. Like, I'm about 200 pounds. Let's say you are some kind of martial arts genius and you learned it in a short frame of time. You ain't breaking nothing on me. Like, seriously. I'm sorry. I don't know. What do you think? Comment down below. All right, next. Well, really last. So Negan Lives. So I started reading this and I was like, oh, we're gonna get a soft, compassionate side of Negan, and you know how he's matured and alone and probably insane at this point. And then we get Negan back real quick. So we find out that in this that people go through emotions, right? When you're alone, you are a totally different person than when you are around other people. And I thought this captured that very well. Negan hasn't lost his edge on anything. He's still very suspicious of people, even when a young lady tries to warm up to him. Two guys pop out of the woodwork to try to do some damage to him, and next thing you know, one gets a shovel clean to the spine. Like, that was kind of disturbing, but funny. Am I a bad person for giggling? I don't know. I was like, he's trying to get like there's pauses in there where he says things, and then of course he brings up his bat, and then realizes, you know what, I have purpose in the world now. What I need to go do is go bury my wife, who's in some random hospital, someplace else, and this young lady can come with him if if you want. Honestly, normally I would chastise that kind of stuff, but it was actually kind of fit. If you know anything about Negan, whether you watched the show or read the previous comic books, it kind of fits. So I'm going on board with this. This is pretty good. I'll probably read this, although I'm not a huge Walking Dead fan. I know. Blasphemy, says you. But I don't know. I just couldn't get behind, a bunch of slow zombies being a real threat. And then the rest of it's just politicalism. Well, not politicalism, but tribism, right? Because they're in different tribes. Literally, I mean that term literally. Um, so I don't know. I think I'm going to pick some more up of this, and we'll check this out. And my only other comic book that I got this week was again a cover by, because I thought it would be something cool, but then we already know what this character is. It was nothing more than a zombie filled with Joker's particular animated laughing gas, and that was kind of depressing. But hey, I got a cover, so that'll be worth $1. Speculating. I don't know. All right, guys. If you don't know, I'm also on a show called Blast It or Stash It. We're there on Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a live chat where you can jump into the chat room with us, chat with us, tell us about your comic books, your opinions, make fun of them, praise them, whatever you want, say whatever you want. That's the whole point of having a community, so everybody can express their different opinions. So definitely come on in. Tell me how I'm wrong about these comic books. Tell me what I'm right about, whatever the case may be. Definitely join us, and that's Blast It or Stash It, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. All right, guys. Shortest video I think I've ever done. You guys stay well, stay safe, and stay away from each other. Talk to you later.